Hi, I'm Dr. Robin Koslowitz, YouTube's post-traumatic parenting expert. Do you sometimes feel like parenting completely overwhelms you? Like everybody else can handle parenting so well? And what's their secret? Because for you, it just feels overwhelming and exhausting and impossible. It may not be you, it may be your trauma. Here are 5 little known trauma symptoms that can seriously interfere with our parenting. But first, if this content interests you, if this is important to you, if you're a post-traumatic parent like me, please hit the subscribe button below so you never miss a single video. If you want more long-form, in-depth content, check out the Post-Traumatic Parenting podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. If you wish there was a place to message me and interact with me, if you think that you'd like this to be a talk show, the best place to do that is Instagram, where the post-traumatic parenting community hangs out. Check us out at Dr. Koslowitz Psychology. We have a subscription, a channel, as well as tons of free content for any post-traumatic parent. So if you find parenting exhausting and overwhelming, and you know that you have PTSD or that you have serious amounts of trauma in your past, you may be surprised with these 5 ways that trauma can interfere with your parenting. The first one is somatic symptoms. Trauma can manifest not only in our thoughts and our fears and having panic attacks and flashbacks, but also in our body. We know from the body keeps the score that our body can hold memories, and those memories sometimes come out as headaches, lack of energy, fatigue, aches and pains, stomach aches, a constant sense of malaise where we just don't feel well. Makes it really hard to parent if, every day as the school bus pulls up, we suddenly get a headache. Or as we're trying to eat dinner with our kids, our stomach is just rejecting food and it just hurts. And a lot of times we see those physical symptoms as just physical symptoms, like, oh, I get a headache every day. Oh, my stomach chronically hurts. But we don't realize is that those physical symptoms really sap our strength. They sap our energy. They take away our resources. They make it really hard for us to have that energy, that joy, that attention with our children, because we feel like we have the energy to keep up with them, because instead we're holding on to our trauma through our body. And those somatic symptoms that perhaps medical science can't explain, perhaps you're popping Tylenols every day, perhaps you're avoiding certain foods, but nothing's really helping. Maybe it's your trauma. Maybe in service of having energy to interact with your kids and parent in accordance with your values, it's time to address that trauma so your body doesn't have to keep the score, because the body doesn't just keep the score. The body also calls the shots. And sometimes the body says no. And parenting is so much more of a physical action than we think it is. We think of parenting as love and connection, but parenting's physical. It's a lot of hard work. We call having a baby labor, but parenting labor exists forever. And a lot of it, running after toddlers, having the mental energy to talk with children, helping teenagers deal with their mood swings, all of that takes a lot of energy. And if our body doesn't feel good, we won't have that energy. So the first not so well-known trauma symptom is the somatic symptoms and how they interfere with parenting. The second not very well-known trauma symptom is hypervigilance for danger, even in calm times. So if you're a post-traumatic parent and you're constantly feeling on edge, like when your kids are home, you feel like you're constantly at the edge of danger. When they're in school, it's like any minute now I'm going to hear about a school shooting. No matter what, we're in the car and you're just envisioning another car crashing into you. You're on a plane and you're envisioning it plummeting down to earth. That sense of hypervigilance for danger, even when everything's calm and everything's fine, kids are in the kitchen eating dinner, doing their homework, everyone's good, everybody's healthy and happy, and yet you still have that sensation of threat and like you can't relax. That's trauma. That's the trauma app in the back of your brain reminding you that the world can be a dangerous place, that you know this firsthand, and that the dangerousness of the world needs to be addressed. What the trauma app doesn't realize is you can't necessarily address the dangerousness of the world right now. No matter what, no matter how safe you try to keep your kids, the world is an unpredictable place. And the sad truth is bad things do happen and we know it. And our trauma app just wants to remind us of that. But we can tell the trauma app, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know you want me to keep my kids and myself safe. And noted, and I'm going to go on with my life now and maybe do some things to help your body self-soothe. That might be taking a bath, taking a walk, eating something calming, doing some deep breathing, meditation, yoga, reading something calming, opposite to emotion action, right? Going out in the world and living your life. All of those things can restore our sense of calm. But if you're feeling hypervigilant and constantly on edge when your kids are around, it's not because you're a bad parent. It's not because you don't love them. It's not because you're missing some fundamental parenting truth. It's because trauma is telling you to keep these kids alive, and it's resulting in the sense of hyper arousal even during those calm times. Another little known trauma residue, and it's something that really can impact us, is emotional numbing. So this is when we don't really feel our feelings all that much. Like the minute we feel a feeling, minute a feeling starts becoming intense, we shut it down. And that could be any feeling. That can be that intense, overwhelming love we feel for a baby. That can be joy. That can be fear. That can be anger. We kind of shut it down and shut it down and shut it down. And we become very good at playing whack-a-mole with our emotions. And we're shutting them down and shutting them down and shutting them down and shutting them down. The problem is that sometimes an emotion shouldn't be shut down, even an intense emotion. So if you're somebody who tends to shut down all intense emotions, that means you're also going to shut down the good ones like love, connection. And we know that love and connection is that underpinning emotion for attunement, which is the underpinning of attachment. So we need those intense emotions. Even fear, anger, sometimes we need to feel our fear, look our fear calmly in the eye, thank it for giving us the information it's giving us, thank it for reminding us how much we love our loved ones or how dangerous the thing we're doing is, and then move on with our lives. When we try to shut it down without fully experiencing it, we lose out on a certain richness of emotional expression, and we lose out on our instincts and our ability to parent from this place of emotionality and of attunement with our children. And that makes us lose a very important source of wisdom, because sometimes when my kid is intensely angry and my temptation is to shut down his anger so that I can shut down mine because this is feeling too uncomfortable. But what I need to do is hear him out, hear out the anger, allow that emotion to wash over us like a wave and then recede so that I can fully experience it with him, right? So I can let him be angry. I don't have to shut down his anger. I can let myself be angry. I don't have to shut down my anger. I can hear my anger out, let my anger give me permission, let my anger not give me permission to act wrongly, but give me permission to focus on a problem and really understand that this problem is serious so that I then handle it properly. We need to be willing to experience our emotions. And when we get used to shutting down every emotion as soon as it gets intense, like as soon as it starts rising, we also shut down the good ones, and that's very dangerous for parenting. Another major hidden trauma symptom that really interferes with parenting is our constant sense of shame, self-blame, and guilt. We take way too much responsibility. We're constantly thinking that our kids' problems are our fault. We did it wrong. When we do something wrong, like yell at our kids, rather than focus on how to repair with it, we go into this shame cycle, self-loathing cycle. Maybe we go back to emotional numbing and we try to shut it down with Netflix and a glass of wine. But what we don't do is learn from it. So when we're excessively self-blaming, it feels safer. Our trauma app is like, you loser, how could you do this? And that feels safer because it feels like then we're going to learn our lesson. But we know that pain doesn't teach, punishment doesn't teach. We don't learn our lesson. We just spiral into self-blame and guilt, and that's really difficult. So, and that really doesn't enhance our parenting. It doesn't teach us anything. So if you have excessive self-blame, shame, guilt, self-loathing, and you're walking around like that, if you feel bad for your kids because poor them, they have you for a parent, that's a trauma symptom. That's not you, it's your trauma, and that's something that you deserve to resolve. Finally, something that really interferes with parenting is our difficulty with time perception. So trauma steals our ability to perceive time. Trauma, especially an active traumatic experience like being in something dangerous like a car accident, witnessing death, being in fear, being humiliated in public, it kind of feels like it goes on forever and it blurs our sense of time passage. It also can sometimes, because of the way the amygdala, which is the seat of trauma, works, the amygdala can't tell the difference between past, present, and future. So sometimes we remember things in a distorted way. Sometimes past experiences intrude on our current life as though they're happening right now. We call that a flashback. And when you're a parent, of course, you need a sense of time because we're always reminding our kids what time to get to bed, what time to wake up in the morning, what time to expect the school bus, what time to eat dinner. We really need to keep our kids on schedule. Their frontal lobes are not capable of relating to time properly. And if we have a distorted sense of time, this can really interfere with our ability to parent. I know a lot of post-traumatic parents, myself included, who walk around with a persistent sense of guilt and shame because they're always handing in, the teacher gift a day late, bringing the forgotten soccer uniform to school, forgetting which day they're supposed to host a party or bake 24 pink cupcakes or, get something in on time, get a form into the school, because trauma does rob us of our time sense. And we have to take active steps to restore it because this really does interfere with our ability to parent. If this resonates with you, if you're a post-traumatic parent and these hidden trauma symptoms have been affecting you and you never even realized that it was your trauma that was interfering with your parenting, you just kind of walked around feeling really bad about yourself, welcome. We all get it. We're post-traumatic parents too. You can find the post-traumatic parenting community on Instagram, which is where we hang out. It's at Dr. Kozlowitz Psychology. You can find the post-traumatic parenting podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the book will be forthcoming, and you can also find the targeted parenting blog on Psychology Today. Thank you for the gift of your attention. I hope this video helped. If you have a question about these hidden trauma symptoms, please comment it below. I will do my best to respond and/or shoot another video in response.